Picture this, a security team confiscating 1,000 cell phones before a single guest even reaches the door. That's how strange, how secretive, the biggest wedding of the decade actually was. And now, days later, the real story is finally leaking out. On the night of July 3rd, Madison Square Garden, the arena where Taylor Swift has performed more times than almost anyone else alive, turned into something nobody expected. Not a concert, not a basketball game, a wedding. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, together for nearly 3 years, finally became husband and wife. But what happened inside those walls that night was stranger, funnier, and more emotional than anyone on the outside could have guessed. Let's start at the beginning. Weeks before the big day, rumors were flying everywhere. Some people swore the wedding would happen at Taylor's mansion in Rhode Island. Others guessed a private island, a vineyard, maybe even overseas. But Swift and Kelce had actually chosen something nobody predicted, an indoor arena in the middle of Manhattan, picked specifically because it was large, secure, and completely enclosed. A fortress disguised as a party. Wikipedia. The couple didn't just walk in and get married on a random Friday, either. The night before the wedding, on July 2nd, there was an intimate rehearsal dinner with around 100 guests at a nearby theater. Think of it as the calm before the storm. One last quiet dinner before the world's attention turned toward Midtown. Wikipedia. Then came the big day. And this is where things get almost cinematic. New York City was in the middle of a brutal heat wave, temperatures climbing into the triple digits. Outside the arena, crowds gathered anyway, standing behind police barricades for hours, just hoping to catch a glimpse of a famous face stepping out of a car. Every time a blacked-out SUV rolled past, people erupted into cheers, even if they had no idea who was actually inside. And the guest list? It reads like the credits of the biggest movie ever made. Gigi Hadid, Bradley Cooper, Selena Gomez, Chris Rock, Hugh Grant, Steven Spielberg, Jessica Alba, Tom Brady. Even NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell showed up. Ed Sheeran was there. So was Jennifer Lopez, Jimmy Fallon, and dozens of Kansas City Chiefs players, quietly loaded into vans from a hotel that fans and photographers had been staking out for days. But here's the part that really shocked people. Before anyone, and we mean anyone, could step through those doors, they had to hand over their phones. Police officers working security, staff members, even celebrity guests, all had their phones confiscated before entering the venue. No exceptions. According to reporting from Bloomberg, nobody, not even law enforcement, was allowed inside the building until the ceremony was ready to begin. It sounds almost impossible for an event with 1,000 guests. But that's exactly how tightly this wedding was controlled. Yahoo! And it wasn't just phones. Reports later surfaced that Madison Square Garden actually fired staff members after the fact for allegedly leaking details despite signing strict non-disclosure agreements. That's how serious this secrecy was. This wasn't just, please don't post on social media. This was legal paperwork, confiscated devices, and consequences if anyone talked. Now let's step inside because what guests found beyond those doors was nothing like a typical arena. According to Good Morning America's George Stephanopoulos, who was actually there, the venue had been transformed into what he called a garden inside the garden. Picture that for a second. One of the most famous sports and concert arenas in the world, completely reimagined, filled with greenery and flowers, built specifically for this one night. CNN. The ceremony itself carried a personal, almost old-fashioned touch. Instead of a traditional wedding party, Taylor chose her brother to stand by her side as her man of honor, while Travis picked his brother Jason to be his best man. If you followed their story, you know Jason Kelce has been right there through almost all of it, cheering in the stands, showing up on their podcast, becoming something of a fan favorite himself. So having him stand beside Travis on this day felt fitting. Hello. Who married them? Not a stranger in a suit. Their friend, actor and comedian Adam Sandler, stepped in as the officiant. Stephanopoulos later described the ceremony as moving, funny in some parts, deeply serious in others, calling the vows real, vulnerable, serious, and silly, deeply loving. And according to guests, both Taylor and Travis had written their own vows, kept inside little personal books, the kind of detail you'd expect from two people who've built their entire relationship on grand romantic gestures. CNN. There was even a musical surprise woven into the ceremony itself. Reports say Sandler didn't just officiate, he actually performed an original song for the couple as part of the service. And if you know anything about Adam Sandler's history of writing goofy, heartfelt songs that probably landed exactly the way you're imagining, half comedy, half tears. Now here's a detail that might make you smile. The The flower girls that day weren't professional models or child actors. They were Jason and Kylie Kelce's own kids, walking down the aisle at their uncle's wedding. Family, front and center, in the middle of one of the most watched celebrity events of the year. Once the vows were exchanged, the night shifted from ceremony to full-blown celebration, and this is where the real secrets start coming out. Guests were treated to food from one of Taylor's favorite New York spots, plus carnival-style games scattered around the reception space, turning a black tie wedding into something that also felt like a playful backyard party. Then came the performances, and these weren't wedding band cover songs. After the ceremony, Taylor's mother Andrea welcomed guests into the reception room, where a full stage had been set up. And waiting to take that stage were two music legends. Parade. First, Sir Paul McCartney stepped up and performed the Beatles' classic, I Wanna Hold Your Hand, reportedly the first time he'd sung that song live in public in more than 60 years. Just sit with that for a second. A song that hadn't been performed live since the 1960s, brought back from retirement for one night. Then came the performances, and these weren't wedding band cover songs. After the ceremony, Taylor's mother Andrea welcomed guests into the reception room, where a full stage had been set up. And waiting to take that stage were two music legends. Parade. First, Sir Paul McCartney stepped up and performed the Beatles' classic, I Wanna Hold Your Hand, reportedly the first time he'd sung that song live in public in more than 60 years. Just sit with that for a second. A song that hadn't been performed live since the 1960s, brought back from retirement for one night for two people who probably grew up idolizing exactly that kind of music history. News. Then, Stevie Nicks took the stage. Taylor and Stevie have shared a close friendship for years, one built on mutual admiration and mentorship. According to reports, Taylor actually joined Stevie for part of her performance, giving guests a rare chance to watch the two of them share a stage together. Robin Roberts, who attended and later spoke about it on Good Morning America, confirmed Nicks performed but kept the details vague, only saying the whole night felt remarkably intimate, despite happening inside one of the largest arenas in the country. Hollywood life. And then, as the night went on, things got looser. Karaoke broke out. Picture some of the biggest names in music and entertainment, no longer performing for cameras or crowds, just grabbing a microphone and singing for their friends. No phones to record it. No possibility of it ending up online within minutes. Just a room full of famous faces, letting loose the way anyone does at a wedding once the formal part is over. Even the announcement to the outside world was dramatic. Once the couple was officially married, message boards outside Madison Square Garden lit up in purple, spelling out the news for anyone walking through Midtown Manhattan. A few blocks away, the Empire State Building glowed blue in their honor, a nod to the old wedding rhyme about something borrowed, something blue. And then, almost like it had been scripted, a rainstorm rolled through the city right as the news broke. Now, not everything about the wedding was pure celebration. In the days afterward, a few controversies bubbled up. Reports circulated claiming that guests were treated harshly by security, patted down, and stripped of their belongings like they were entering an airport rather than a wedding. But some attendees pushed back on that narrative. Tavia Hunt, wife of the Kansas City Chiefs CEO, publicly disputed those claims, suggesting the reality inside was far warmer and more relaxed than outside reports made it sound. There was also talk about who didn't make the guest list. Former NFL player Will Compton, a co-host of a popular sports podcast and someone who has spent plenty of time around the Kelce family, was noticeably absent, sparking plenty of speculation about why, even though nothing was ever officially confirmed. And then there's the price tag. Multiple reports estimated the wedding cost somewhere around $30 million, with a jaw-dropping $5 million spent on flowers and decor alone. But here's the part that balances out the extravagance. The couple didn't just spend on themselves. Just before the wedding, Taylor and Travis donated $26 million, spread across 20 different charities around the country. A massive celebration, paired with an equally massive act of generosity. So after 2 years of very public dating, a proposal that happened quietly in a garden in Missouri, and an engagement announcement that broke Instagrams like record, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce finally became husband and wife, surrounded by music legends, family, confiscated phones, and a level of secrecy usually reserved for state secrets, not wedding receptions. And maybe that's the most fascinating part of this whole story. Two of the most famous, most photographed people on the planet, who have lived almost every part of their relationship in front of millions of eyes, found a way, just for one night, to have something private. Something just for them, and the 1,000 people lucky enough to be standing in that room.